The algorithm brought you here today for one simple reason. It knows you are completely addicted to action RPGs. And honestly, I am right there with you. You don't need a 5-minute intro explaining what an RPG is. You just need to know which games are actually worth your time. So today, we are speeding through 20 upcoming action RPGs that are guaranteed to ruin your sleep schedule. Starting us off is the Duskbloods, and yeah, it is a From Software game for the Nintendo Switch too. I know I had to rub my eyes too. Releasing in 2026, this is a crazy PvPvE multiplayer action game directed by Miyazaki himself. You play as a Bloodsworn, essentially a vampire with guns and superpowers, fighting up to 8 players in a dark hub. Knowing FromSoft, we are probably going to die a lot, but I'm super curious to see how their signature brutal combat translates to a multiplayer arena. Just prepare to break some Joy-Cons. I know Wilds is already out, but the massive Ascendance expansion drops in 2027 and it basically looks like a brand new game. We are heading to the Skybound Eyrie, an entirely new region made of floating islands and ancient ruins. Oh, and Kushala Daora is back to ruin our day with those annoying wind barriers. There is also a new mechanic called the Boost Bracer and a giant returning monster. If you love the base game, this master rank upgrade is going to consume hundreds of hours of your life. Okay, Mecha fans, it is time to get in the robot. Gundam Rogue Orbit launches in 2027 and it is taking the franchise into a high-mobility, cinematic action RPG direction. Developed by Bandai Namco Studios, you pilot the Gundam Helix in an all-new universe fighting a completely unknown alien threat. The melee combat here looks incredibly fast, heavy, and satisfying. Honestly, it feels like they finally figured out how to make a Gundam game that plays as smooth as the anime looks. I cannot wait to customize my mech and go berserk. We have waited so long for this one. The Fable reboot is officially dropping on February 23rd, 2027. Yeah, Playground Games pushed it back a bit to dodge GTA 6 in November, which is honestly a very smart move. You are stepping back into Albion completely reimagined on a modified Forza engine. The classic British dry humor is fully intact, the open world reacts to your messy moral choices, and yes, you can absolutely still kick chickens. It is charming, hilarious, and launching day one on Game Pass and PS5. If you love Mass Effect, you need to pay attention to the Expanse Osiris Reborn. Coming in early 2027 from Owlcat Games, this is a narrative-driven sci-fi RPG. You play as the commander of a mercenary squad controlling your own space frigate. It is set in the Expanse universe, meaning grounded space politics, tough survival choices, and intense action. They even got actors from the TV show to reprise their roles. I am a huge sucker for good space operas, and having a deep RPG in this setting is literally a dream come true. Before we continue the video, I want to inform you that right now, there are tons of crazy deals in instant gaming, especially if you love RPG games. Remember how expensive modern gaming lately? Well, not anymore, since you can get so many amazing titles with crazy discounts in instant gaming. Can you believe that just with $10 or even less than $5, you can enjoy one of the best gaming experiences in your life? Just look at these titles. It used to cost like $30 or even more than $40. And to make things even crazier, some games even drop so far to just $1. If you're a smart guy, you know what you have to do. All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games, and use the activation code on your chosen platform. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list.
About the way I'm running.
Speaking of space, Exodus is hitting us in early 2027 and it looks absolutely mind-blowing. Made by Archetype Entertainment, which is basically a bunch of veteran BioWare devs, this game tackles the terrifying concept of time dilation. You travel at light speed, and when you come back, days for you might mean decades have passed for your friends. Matthew McConaughey is voicing a character, so you know the vibes are going to be alright. Fusing alien tech to your gauntlet to fight the Celestials looks incredible. It is exactly my kind of sci-fi. Capcom is finally bringing back Onimusha. Way of the Sword releases in just a few weeks on September 4th, 2026. This isn't a Souls-like, but rather a deliberate samurai action game set in a dark fantasy version of Edo period Kyoto. You play as Miyamoto Musashi, slicing up demons and parrying attacks to unleash instant, brutal executions called Break-Isen. You can even flip tables to block arrows. It uses the RE engine, so it looks incredibly gorgeous. If you missed the classic PS2 era of action games, this is going to be your new obsession.
On the road to salvation.
So Lords of the Fallen 2 got bumped to Q1 2027, but honestly, let them cook. The 2023 reboot had a rocky start but grew into something special, and CI Games is going even bigger for this sequel. We don't have a massive amount of gameplay yet, but if they tighten up the mob density and polish those boss fights, this could easily stand toe-to-toe with the heavy hitters in the Souls-like genre. I just hope the Umbral Realm doesn't give me as many panic attacks this time around. Releasing literally next month on September 2nd, 2026, The Blood of Dawnwalker is a dark fantasy dream. Made by a studio formed by former Witcher 3 devs, it is set in a grim 14th century Europe. You play as Cohen, who is a human by day and a vampire by night. Your abilities completely shift depending on the sun, and the story isn't linear. Your choices heavily impact the world. It runs on Unreal Engine 5 and looks insanely atmospheric. I am definitely ready to embrace my inner Dracula for this one.
Rapidly takes over anyone in its path. You feel it, you're gone.
Dylan Faden is out of containment. Control Resonant is dropping on September 24th, 2026, and Remedy is fully leaning into action RPG territory this time. You play as Jesse's brother, exploring a warped, open-ended version of Manhattan that is being torn apart by a cosmic threat. Instead of just shooting, there is a huge emphasis on melee combat, using a shape-shifting weapon called the Aberrant. Remedy always delivers the weirdest games on the market, and exploring the paranatural streets of New York sounds amazing. Just remember to never trust a glowing refrigerator. We are finally getting a new 2D Castlevania, and it is being co-developed by the team behind Dead Cells. Taking place in 1499 Paris, you play as Rose Belmont, the daughter of Trevor and Sypha. She uses the legendary vampire killer whip, but you can also grapple across gaps and equip tons of magic spells you steal from bosses. The combat is fast, acrobatic, and very Metroidvania. It genuinely feels like the perfect evolution for the series. I am so ready to whip some wall meat and explore this gorgeous city. For fans of Diablo-likes, do not sleep on this one. Minecraft Dungeons 2 releases on September 29, 2026, and the first game was secretly one of the most fun action RPGs to play with friends. This sequel is taking us straight into the deep dark and ancient cities, which means things are getting a lot spookier. They have revamped the loot system so armor is split into pieces, added passive talismans, and finally gave us a dedicated jump button. It is the perfect palate cleanser when you want to break from super hardcore RPGs. Just pure, chaotic fun. Digital Extremes, the mad scientists behind Warframe, are currently deep into pre-alpha with Soulframe. It just got a massive Preludes 12 update and it is shaping up beautifully. Unlike Warframe's hyper-fast ninja flipping, this is a slower, heavier fantasy game focusing on melee combat and nature magic. You bond with animals, unlock different packs, and fight to restore a polluted world. You can actually buy a Founders Pack right now to play early. Knowing their track record, I have zero doubt this will consume our lives for the next decade.
I am not jumping. No way, no how.
Don't worry.
Finally, we're walking to the grand finale. Final Fantasy VII Revelation arrives in the spring 2027. Square Enix is letting us fully fly the high-wind airship across a completely seamless world, dropping out of the sky with parachutes. The battle system is bringing back Vincent Valentine with his chaotic beast transformations, and they've added a new fit system for classic jobs like Black Mage. The stakes are insanely high with Meteor falling, and knowing Nomura, my brain is going to hurt from the plot twist. I am actually not emotionally prepared to say goodbye. RGG Studio is doing something completely wild here. Stranger Than Heaven is a massive prequel to the Yakuza and Like a Dragon series, tracking the life of Makoto Daito over 50 years. You explore 5 different eras of Japan, starting all the way back in 1915. The combat is super unique. You control his left and right sides independently to throw punches and kicks. Plus, Snoop Dogg is literally in the game playing a smuggler. Between the deep crime drama and the absurd side quests, this is going to be an absolute masterpiece. Capcom just loves taking our money in 2026. The Dark Arisen expansion for Dragon's Dogma 2 hits on October 9th. If it is anything like the original Dark Arisen, expect a massive difficulty spike, terrifying new dungeon areas, and some of the best boss fights in the series. The base game is also getting big updates beforehand to smooth things out. I am honestly just excited to throw my pawns off another cliff and fight some giant minotaurs in a cursed labyrinth. Valor Mortis was supposed to drop in September, but it smartly dodged out of the way to October 13th, 2026. This is a first-person Souls-like made by the Ghost Runner devs, set in an alternate 19th century Europe where Napoleon's army is literally undead monsters. You have a cutlass for parrying and a flintlock pistol for staggering enemies, plus fire magic. The combat is punishing but looks incredibly fluid. It gives me major Bloodborne meets Dishonored vibes, and the gothic horror atmosphere is just dripping with style. Releasing in 2027, Clockwork Revolution is a first-person steampunk RPG by Insile, and it looks incredible. You have this device called the Chronometer that lets you travel back in time to alter the history of the city of Avalon. Change one thing in the past and the present district completely reshapes itself. The weapons are awesome. You got lever-action rifles, Gatling guns, and steam-powered explosives. It is deeply reactive, meaning your custom character's background actually changes how NPCs treat you. Time travel can get messy, but that is half the fun. Stop everything because Mortal Shell 2 is literally coming out next week on August 20th, 2026. Cold Symmetry completely overhauled the formula. The stamina bar is gone, and now you can fight as aggressively as you want across a large interconnected open world with over 60 dungeons. You still inhabit the shells of fallen warriors, but combat is way faster and more dynamic. If you bought the Devout Edition, you might even be playing it early right now. The first game was a sleeper hit, but this sequel looks like an absolute powerhouse. And finally, Phantom Blade Zero. It recently got a slight delay to October 29, 2026, but the extra polish will be worth it. This game has some of the most insanely fast, stylish martial arts combat I have ever seen. It perfectly blends Chinese martial arts with a dark kung fu punk aesthetic. You have 66 days to live and the clock is ticking as you hunt down the people who framed you. The parrying system looks ridiculously satisfying and the animations are buttery smooth. It is aggressive, it is bloody, and it is going to absolutely consume your life this October.